Hi, my name is Missy. So I'm going to do a slightly different reading today. As you can see, we have kind of a bunch of decks here. I want to go ahead and talk about the decks that we have. But before I talk about the decks that we have and why we have, I want to talk about why we have them here and what kind of reading this is that I want to do. So if you have been following me for any length of time, you know that I'm not only a tarot reader and psychic, I'm also an astrologer. And so right now we have something happening in the astrology, being a Mars-Venus opposition that will be happening in a couple of days. I think is going to be pretty important, right? Because I think there are going to be a lot of people who may end up having either an argument or something explosive could happen with Mars in retrograde in Gemini opposing Venus and Mercury in Sagittarius. Now, as I'm getting ready to explain this, I need to, I'm probably going to, oh, hold on, I need to make sure that I've got the right chart here. I think this is the one that I want. Okay, so what I'm probably going to do is edit in a picture of what the chart actually looks like so that you'll be able to see what I'm talking about as I'm talking about it. But as I was saying, as interesting too, because, you know, I already have my earbuds in as I normally do, and we have the song I'm Moving On by Rascal Flatts. So I think this is definitely kind of going to be the energy that's happening for quite a few people. But I think beyond that, look, let's be real. There are going to be quite a few people that maybe if you're moving on from them, there could be something explosive that happens, or some sort of deception or betrayal that you discover, something, right? And so what I wanted to do is make the focus of this reading, you know, let the ancestors handle it, basically, I think is what I'm going to name it. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to name it something like that. I want to look at you know, what justice are you crying out for, basically? And the reason that I say that is because right now, as I'm recording this video, and I'm looking at the astrology, I can see that as we're talking, we have the Moon and Pluto in conjunction, and that happens to be in Capricorn. And it is opposing Pallas Athena. And Pallas Athena it carries the energy of, you know, standing up for yourself, fighting for your rights, fighting for the underdog, fighting for feminine issues as well. You know, and these can be, you know, with Moon-Pluto conjunction, these can be very deep traumatic issues where maybe you feel like you need justice for something that was deep and traumatic, and yet you can't do anything about it physically, right? Or maybe you know, I mean, you just can't do anything about it physically other than moving on and allowing the ancestors to take care of it. So, you know, sometimes, let's be real about what it's like to be human. Sometimes, you know, what we need to move on is the assurance of what kind of justice will be collected on our behalf, right? Sometimes just knowing that there will be some sort of justice collected on our behalf is what helps us to move on. So even though this is a little bit of a dark subject, I feel like it's a necessary subject because I do feel that with the astrology, as I say, you know, I think it's the 30th that we're going to have the exact opposition between Mars, Venus, and Mercury. But as I'm recording this right now, Venus is sitting at 14 degrees of Sagittarius, and Mercury is at 16 degrees of Sagittarius, while Mars is currently at 20 degrees of Gemini. So, you know, the energy is coming into aspect, or into exact opposition, right? It's moving towards the aspect. So you could even be feeling that energy right now. You may have already had something happen you know, where maybe you exploded and lost your temper. We have the song Little Boy by Ashniko, and it, just as I was saying that, part of the lyrics as she's saying is, little boy, who you think you're talking to? You know, so again, with Mars in Gemini, especially Mars in retrograde in Gemini, opposing Mercury in Sagittarius. Mercury is Gemini's ruler, so being in the house opposing him, you know, and opposing Mars, which is angry words, right? That means that obviously there's something that either you really truly believe, you know, to be right and true, right? This is what you believe to be like according to your personal values, what is right and true, and yet there's probably someone opposing you. And it very well could be that this person that's opposing you believes that their side is on the right side as well. And in those situations, sometimes you can't do anything to get justice, right? Sometimes you have to walk away, you have to step back. But you know that there was some sort of something nefarious somewhere, right? And let your ancestors handle it. So let's talk about the decks that we have that we're gonna use. Let me close out my screen so that I can now see what's on, what's being recorded. So we have a couple of new decks for me here. This one here, I already made some reels on Facebook with it, and I loved it so much that I knew the next set of readings that I wanted to post on YouTube, I knew I wanted to include it. And so this is Supernatural Join the Hunt Tarot deck and guidebook. It's just the expressions on their faces and just, you know, I was feeling a whole lot as I was using this particular deck here for the reels that well, actually, I don't think I've even posted any of the reels yet. I think today is going to be the first one. So, and one of them I post 3 reels per day. You know, I do that because you got to post every day when you're posting reels to keep the attention, right? So if I post 3, that means 3 signs each day are going to get a reading on Facebook. So there's going to be 3 probably posted by the time this particular video goes up on YouTube. So you might be able to go and check out those reels if you want. So that is the Supernatural Join the Hunt Tarot Deck and Guidebook. This is what the box looks like. It's a nice box. And I'm showing this because I don't know, actually I have to be really honest, I was just at the psychic fair in Carlsbad and I sold a bunch of decks and I haven't had a chance to go through my inventory to see if I even have any of these left. But I did have everything that well, almost everything with the exception of this one here, I have for sale, and I'm going to post it on my website as well. Because, you know, when I bought a deck for myself, I bought an extra one to sell just in case somebody else really liked it. Because I've had people ask me before when I was doing live readings on Facebook, you know, hey, do you sell decks? So I do. It's what I've always wanted to do, is sell decks so that I can see and find as many as possible, because I have a bit of an addiction, a bit of an obsession with tarot decks. I have so many of them, it's not even funny. But anyway, that's not even the point. So here's the book here. Oh, interesting. So that's not good. And you know, we got to be real, especially if I'm going to try to sell it or whatever. Now, I don't know if it's just this particular book or not, but anyway, I was going to say it was made very sturdy, but I don't know now. Anyway, this is what the book looks like. So yeah, just that there. I'm going to have to be careful. I don't, to be honest with you, I don't typically read the books for my tarot decks when I'm using them. So this right here isn't going to really bother me too much, but if you read your books a lot, it probably will bother you. However, I have been reading this one, as you can see, and it's because it is from the series. And so if you understand, like if you know the names of the people and you understand what's going on, or like who the people are from the series, you're going to give much better readings with this deck here. And although I did watch the series, it's been so long since I watched it, and I don't think I watched the full thing, so there's some characters in here that I needed to reacquaint myself with. So but it's a really good, I thought it, you know, other than this little issue here, I think it's, other than that, pretty well made. It looks pretty sturdy. So that's not going to bother me personally too much. Let's go ahead and move on to some of these other decks before we get into the readings. So now we have the Macabre Tarot, which is this deck here, but I want to show you this because I love the box, but what else I love about the box is this. Oh wait, it's not doing it right now. It was like doing a squeaky hingy thing, and now it's not. Oh, there it is. Oh, it's messing up. Interesting. So I'm kind of disappointed with both of these now. I gotta say, like 2 or 3 times I've opened this thing and it had this squeaky hinge noise, and now I'm trying to do it to show everybody else and it doesn't. So you hear it? It's all jacked up now. Very disappointing. Very disappointing, because that was like the best feature about it, was the box and the fact that it made that noise. I mean, the cards themselves are really cute, but just for the extra price that I've got to be really honest, for the extra price that they're asking for this one, and look at, I have an extra one to sell. I'm not going to lie. I don't know if I'm going to put it up or not, because I am a little disappointed at that, because that was the thing that I loved the most about this one, was the fact that it had that squeaky whatever, and I guess there's a battery right here where I can change it, but who wants to do that just to have their box keep squeaking? Anyway, so we'll put the box over there. Here's the cards, though. The cards are awesome. Aren't they perfect for our subject matter today? And to go with the supernatural deck. Like, you'll see them more in the reading, but the cards are just awesome. They've got gilding. They feel good in my hands. They shuffle well, because I was shuffling them a little bit, playing with them earlier. Then we have this deck here, which is the Vlad Dracula deck. Now, this is the deck that was the one that gave me the subject for this particular reading. I knew I wanted to use this deck in any reading. I didn't care what kind of reading it was, and it's just because of the images, the faces, like their expressions, all of it was giving me so much in the reels, right? So then I opened this one and started playing around with it, and I was like, oh, this is giving me ideas for a reading. So here's what the box looks like. It's got that in there. We have the book. Here's the back of the box. A nice book. Feels like it's made the same way as the other one. This one's a little less stiff. I think the reason the other one did that is because the cover and everything was kind of stiff, but the book is very nice. And the man who did this, he actually makes another deck that I think I have, which is the Angel Tarot, and then he makes the Occult Tarot or something, I think. But anyway, so he did a lot of research. I was reading this one as well, because again, when it's a theme like this, it really helps to know the different stories that are behind each of the thing. Like, it can give you extra in the reading. Right now, I haven't had a chance to read this particular one too much, because as I was reading the introduction and the notes, and then I got to I think I got this far in right here, and I was like, oh my God, I've got an idea for a reading. So let's do it. And we're gonna figure out I haven't used any of these 3 decks here at all in any readings yet. I have used these 2. I used this one at the fair in Carlsbad recently, but let me show you these cards real quick, and then we'll start getting into... Oh wait, I forgot to talk about the Lenormand. So this is another one that's new to me. I don't know if it's new on the market or not, but this is the Laura Tuan Lenormand Oracle. I don't know if I said that correctly. Another nice box, very sturdy, very well made, with a book that's, again, very well made. Oh, yeah. It's got, it tells you like the different positions, past, present, unexpected. It tells you all the different things. Again, this, I haven't really read it or anything. I'm getting ready to check out this deck here with you guys on camera as well. And I planned on just using well, this is an oracle deck, but I plan on using this as just an oracle deck with like just using one card. So anyway, here is the Vlad Dracula deck. Has little sayings at the bottom, which we're going to get into when we get into the reading. I really like this deck as well. Very, you know, the images are very illustrative. Okay, we have the song Last Resort by Papa Roach. So again, the music is really fitting with the theme so far. And then this is the Lenormand. Very pretty. Yeah, very pretty images so far. Okay. So let me go ahead and clear these out of the way. I don't know if we're going to get charms or not. We'll see how the reading goes. But what we are going to do is I'm going to start with the group, or excuse me, not the group, the sign that has been, you know, the most watched. Sorry. Yeah, so I think Gemini was the most watched, and then it was Scorpio, Aquarius, and Taurus, I think. But we'll see. I'm going to record these in order. Like I say, but from popularity, from the sign that was the most watched. That way you guys can get your video first, since you're the one who seems to be the most active, you know, so on and so forth. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. And I think the first thing that I want to do, like I say, is get one oracle card here from our Lenormand. So what we're going to ask, and by the way, hello Gemini. So what we're going to ask here is we want to know what is it that you want justice about, but then more importantly, I want to know what do your ancestors plan on doing about it. Like, you don't have to do anything. This is something that you are not going to have any control over, and you may not even see it happening. You may see it happen. You might see it or might hear about it later. You may never hear about it, right? Sometimes it's an internal justice that happens, and you know, sometimes those can be the best too. and I say that as a Scorpio rising, okay? Anybody who knows Scorpio energy knows that we love some good revenge. And let me be real with you, sometimes the best revenge is just knowing that someone is tormented inside, right? Just knowing that someone is eaten up inside over something that they did. Right? So let's go ahead and see. Let's see what you're upset about first. We have this one. Hold on. I'm actually going to shuffle all of the decks real quick first, because I did that to clear them, but I want to do it while I have this question in my mind. So we have the song Sweet Dreams from the Eurythmics. I'm going to get one of these. There we go. So actually I'm going to wait for the crystals, because I want to find out how you can use the crystals to help you, like to help you move on, to help you clear your energy, to heal, to do whatever it is that you need to do to get to that space where you can heal and move on. Let's go ahead and get one of these. Actually, we might get a couple of these. One more shuffle. Actually, I kind of feel like those want to come out, so. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you the bottoms. We have the priest, and then we have the flowers. It's weird to me because you're crying out for justice over something, right? I feel like someone fed you a line of bullshit, or they fed you some promise, right? They fed you some promise, and we have the song Thank You, Alanis Morissette. Let's see what these other... Okay, so you found out, what is this? The Peeper, the King, and the Happy Squirrel. So I'm not surprised that the letter came out at all with excuse me. So as I was saying, I'm not surprised that the letter came out at all, because as I was saying over here, I think someone promised you something. It could have been some sort of a contract, right? But here's the thing, I think they manipulated you into doing something that they wanted, is what it is. And I think that they manipulated you by they either watched you, they spied on you, they used some sort of information that they should not have had against you. It was like they used, because this can be about secrets, or it's really information coming in, communication. But with this together, it feels like it was a secret, or something that you didn't want other people to know, that maybe, I don't know, not like it was anything bad, but like, I don't know, maybe you had some sort of hope or dream and somebody manipulated you. The only thing is, I gotta be really honest. The majority of this, everything that's coming, all of this energy is very positive, with the exception of the Peeper. That's the only part of it that I'm like, that's kind of sketchy. And the only reason that I read these two cards together here as negative is because we're looking at what is the what injustice are you crying out about, right? So the injustice, I think, is like the loss of this promise. But there's something about manipulation or secrets here, like somebody using some secret dream, secret wish. I don't know. I gotta be honest, like, it's almost like if this was a marriage, there's the loss of a marriage. It could be maybe there's the loss of a marriage because somebody else came in and manipulated the situation. But we'll have to see more when we look at the cards. You know what? Let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's pull some of our supernatural. Actually, as I'm I feel like it actually needs to be, hold on, we need to use this one here. My dog is standing at my door, peeking through. We have little windows on either side of the door. He's peeking through. We have 2 crows that live in our yard, in the tree in our yard. He's just sitting there watching them, waiting, hoping that I will let him out there, but I'm not going to let him out there. Okay. All right, so... oh, look at, you've got the 3 of Swords, or 3 of Daggers, I should say, now on the bottom of the deck. So heartbreak, heartache. I do think that it's like it was the loss of a promise, the loss of a relationship, the loss of a marriage. But why is there the loss of a marriage? Either somebody fed you a line of bullshit and they promised you something that they didn't deliver on. Like, look at, here we go again. And now we've got the Lovers. And we have the song, hold on. And with the Ace of Daggers here, okay. Hold on. It's 11:55 exactly as I'm looking at this, but the song Bad Girlfriend, Theory of a Dead Man. And yeah, that so fits with the way that, look at the imagery on this card. Once you Google the lyrics to this song, like, you'll feel everything that I'm feeling, like, especially if you listen to it as I'm talking, showing you these. But anyway, oh man, now all of a sudden my Wi-Fi is wanting, like, everything is wanting to, like, what's going on? My Wi-Fi is cutting out just as I was trying to listen to the lyrics so that I can tell you. So in the beginning it says, my girlfriend's a dick magnet. My girlfriend's got to have it. She's hot, can't stop, up on a stage doing shots. Tip the man, he'll ring the bell. Get her drunk, she'll scream like hell. Dirty girl getting down, dance with guys from out of town, grab her ass, acting tough, mess with her, she'll fuck you up, right? No one really knows if she's drunk or if she's stoned, but she's coming back to my place tonight. And then look at these. It's like the 2 sides of, or the 2 faces of, but this is Gemini, by the way. So it's the 2 faces of Gemini. So I think somebody's watching, like, might be a cross-watcher read or something. I don't know. It could be that Gemini is feeling all of this pain. Hold on, I don't know why I'm having such a hard time picking these cards up. Interesting that this 3 of Swords came out twice. Gemini is the 3rd astrological sign. It rules the 3rd house. And it's coming up quite a bit, and you're reading, oh, and it's also an air sign, and you've got quite a bit of swords coming through. So the Ace of Swords is like, this is the harsh truth, right? This is, especially because it's down, like, this is not somebody giving you, they're not trying to start a war. Like, if the sword was upright, this was, they're trying to cut your head off, right? They're getting ready to attack. But when the sword is pointed downward like this, what it's saying is, like, it's like a truce. It's like the stance of a truce. Like, you can't really attack if the sword is stuck in the ground. And so I feel like it's saying this is the harsh truth. And I feel like Gemini is the one that might have been a little bit two-faced, kind of. Like, especially because look at the way that the eye is coming through under all of this, right? It's like there's all this pain here, but then under all of the pain, you've got this intuitive knowledge. Take that however it resonates. I'm not trying to, like, be mean or call anybody out. It's just what they're pulling through, what's coming through with the cards. We do have the Eight of Wands. or 8 of Bones on the bottom of the deck with the Nightmare of Daggers and Temperance. You see here, look at the sword is up right now, but that's in the past. I think there was a lot of harsh words, or passionate, very passionate at least. But this is like the Queen of Swords, right? And so, now this is the Macabre Tarot, so it's meant to look dark, and we're talking about the injustice that you suffered, right? So we've got Judgment, we've got the 5 of Daggers. Look at the way the horn is going through his skull here. You've got the daggers pointed at his skull while these 2 swords, or the 2 daggers are piercing her eyes. This is defeat, but I think this is defeat. It's like, I don't know, there's something about... we have the song Bulletproof by Godsmack. There's something about harsh words, feeling very defeated, being stuck in your head. It's like a mental defeat, right? But this is passionate energy, passionate communication, and this here is really saying, I really want to heal, right? There's all this pain here, can we just heal? Because that's what Temperance is really about. Even though the image here is very dark, it's you're healing over this pain. And again, I can't get over how it's all focused on the head. Everything is focused on the head. It's all mental energy, even in Judgment, which is not swords energy. This is major arcana, but typically with the Judgment cards, you would see the archangel blowing the horn. You wouldn't see him crying out because the horn is piercing his brain. So there's something happening that's like, oh, and look, more swords energy. So being trapped in the head, and but this one, look at how it's the snake that's binding him. Snakes are all about transformation and healing. Come on, focus. See? It's the snake that's binding him, the healing. Also, he's blinded because there's something about like intuitive. I can't get over it again. Look at this one, how the crystals are surrounding her head, but that's, you know, it's all focused on the head here. Okay, so it's like you're stuck in, there's something about, and I think this is Gemini, literally, like you're crying out for an injustice. How are your angels going to handle it? I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, but like your angels and ancestors, how they're going to handle it is by bringing like if you are Gemini and you're watching this and you're like, why did I lose this here? It's like your ancestors are saying, this is why here. There was too many harsh words, too much harsh energy. Someone really wanted to heal, right? Whether that was you or the other person. I think somebody really wanted to heal. And it has to do with this being stuck in the head thing and the pain of it. Because like this makes me feel like there's like somebody probably has migraines or something, right? Because that's how that's what I would like. If I was doing just a general reading without a topic, I'd be like, ooh, somebody's got migraines, or somebody really doesn't like you know, music, right? There's something about music that really bothers somebody, but this is being stuck in your head and it's very painful. You can't get out of your thoughts because they're so dark. And it's like you're always waiting for the next thing to happen, the next thing to come around the corner with that eyeball there in the center of the spider web on the Wheel of Fortune, right? It's like, when is the next thing coming? And that eyeball looks like it's like wide-eyed. Oh my God. And very interesting though, we've got the song Cuff It by Beyonce. So Oh, one thing, when I came into this reading, I do not have a plan in terms of like how I was going to use the tarot decks, right? I only had a plan for how I was going to use the oracle decks. But as I'm sitting here doing your reading, I don't really feel the need to go to our Vlad Dracula deck, because this one's going to be kind of harsh. I think, and you know, like I was saying in the introduction, this is the one that gave me the idea for this reading, and it's because it talks about all of the different cruel things that Vlad did, right? And the reasons why behind it. Like the guy who made this deck, he did a really deep dive into Vlad Tepes. And so you don't need to be punished in any way. I think I think you already feel like, I think you feel like you used poor judgment, right? I really do. I think you feel like you used poor judgment, and you're hurting, and you're crying out for relief from that hurt. But I don't think there's anything where anybody needs to be, like there's any justice that needs to come in from it other than healing for you. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to actually look at some crystals to see how you can do that. What things can you use that will be really good for you to heal this energy? And I may do this like as a series. I don't know. Right now I'm just doing it mainly because of the astrology. And, you know, when I saw this particular deck, I was like, oh, that just, you know, it's perfect. But anyway, I don't know. We'll see. I think just right now, like most, well, at least the Geminis who are watching my readings or who are watching this reading, like right now you don't have, I shouldn't say it like that. That's not, because your pain is still real and valid, and you still feel as if there's justice that needs to be had from it. So I don't mean to make it seem as if I'm diminishing it in any way. It's just that my intention for this reading was to get people to calm down from their need for vengeance, right? Because like I say, as a Scorpio rising, I feel that. I feel it, you know, I feel it deeply in certain situations. And a lot of times, like, these are situations that you just can't do anything about. I felt the injustice of my granddaughter's death. Nothing I could do about that. She had cancer. Nothing I could do about it. You know what I mean? And so sometimes there's an anger attached to something that you can do something about. But then sometimes there is an anger attached to something that you just can't do anything about. There's no way to change it. We have the song Head Over Feet by Alanis Morissette. So now we have sulfur with physical radiance and azurite for focus. Like most people are not going to want to use sulfur in any kind of way because it just smells bad. But I think you could use azurite. I think azurite would help you to meditate. It is so good for that. Then you have chrysocolla, which it has the keyword silence on the bottom. And so again, that's just more like confirmation of how you would need to meditate. Like you could use something in place of, oh look, you could use tiger eye in place of sulfur. I was just getting ready to say something yellow in place of sulfur, and I'll explain to you how to use it in meditation in just a second. But what it is that they're saying with this physical radiance here, right? They want you to embrace who you are, what you really need, like what you really wanted, especially if there was some sort of secret dream. Like as we started in the very beginning of this, we talked about how there might have been, you know, maybe there was some secret dream that you had that somebody manipulated, right? Maybe it was a dream for love or family. And because you feel like you were manipulated in some way, when it comes to that, you don't really express that outwardly anymore. And if that's the case, maybe, you know, they want you to change that outlook. So this crystal here, this is Illuminel, that's the name of the crystal deva, but this image, the full image here, is the actual crystal deva itself, the spirit of the crystal. The sigil here in the center, you can use this sigil, you can draw it anywhere. Like if you want to create a grid or even draw it on your body in like makeup or something, right? Eyeliner or something that you can wash off easily. Draw it somewhere on your body, probably over your heart. I really feel like this sigil needs to get drawn over your heart. And then go into meditation. Okay, you're going to put this on your solar plexus, the tiger eye. You're going to put the chrysocolla on your throat chakra. You're going to put the azurite over your third eye or above your head if you don't really feel comfortable having it on your third eye. But it does need to go in that order when you're in meditation with this sigil on your heart chakra, because you want your love, your desire for love, your secret dream to radiate out into the world, right? That's the justice that your angels and ancestors want to bring to you. They want to bring to you that dream that you thought someone else manipulated. And they want to do that by making you realize that you were the one that manipulated. You know what I mean? Like there were things about whatever this situation was that wasn't healthy, right? And healing is the thing that's trapping you. It's like this fear of recognizing this energy here, the fear of expressing it. This is actually a very positive reading for a very dark subject. I came into this thinking, oh, you know, but no, this is a very positive reading for a very dark subject. I also want to say one other thing. If you were in a relationship that was like a marriage or a long-term relationship, why would you ever think that that was a waste, right? Like, even if it didn't work out at one point, you guys obviously loved each other, even if it wasn't a marriage, even if it was just a long-term committed relationship that somehow, you know, you lost in some way because of either harsh words or two-faced behavior on somebody's behalf, because that's really what came through in this. Like somebody was a little bit wild, and there was healing that needed. There's like trust issues, it looks like, but still, if there has to have been something positive that came from it. Otherwise you wouldn't have all this positive energy coming out to begin with, right? And you wouldn't have like the angels coming through very clearly going, there's no justice needed here other than the opening of your heart. That's the only justice needed, is for you to open your heart. Allow your dreams to shine. And to do that, meditation is really going to help you. Wow, I'm kind of blown away by this first reading, you guys. Like, oh my God, like I feel like there's, you know, here's the other thing that I need to say. You know what's really interesting about this, because, you know, I'm not into, I don't believe in the twin flame theory at all, right? But I was watching Ksenia Moore on YouTube. She's an astrologer, and she was talking about the Venus-Mars opposition, but the conjunction that we had beginning in July of 2021. And she was talking about how that conjunction that happened, and it began in July of 2021. There was another activation of it in February and March of 2022. And now we've got the opposition, which is the third, or the culmination, right? Which is, it's kind of like the new moon to full moon cycle. Whenever if you follow, I'm sure if you're watching me, you obviously follow the moon cycles. So, you know, you say your prayer, or you set your intentions at the new moon, and you look for the manifestation at the time of the full moon. Well, with the cycle that she was speaking of, it started in July of 2021. So think back to what happened at that time. Did you meet somebody new at that time, or did something happen with this situation here at that time? Again, and then go back to what was happening around February, March, because again, now having the opposition between Venus and Mars, this is basically acting as the full moon or the manifestation of that energy, where it's very likely that the Geminis that are watching this could actually find that, like, maybe you are ending one relationship and finding your person in another relationship. Maybe the relationship that you thought was over isn't over. You just never know. It depends on what's happening in your own personal situation. Like I say, look back to July of 2021 and then February and March of this year, 2022. But again, like, dude, this one feels like a full blessing, this reading, in what I expected to be a very dark reading. So I hope that resonates. I'm not actually going to go to any charms for these. I think we're going to try and keep them as short as possible. But yeah, please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, tell your friends, anything that you can to help me. And if this did not resonate for you, please watch for your sun, moon, or rising. And I thank you so, so much for watching.